Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
We welcome you in. The new drug today is a recap. We can recap a really interesting and fun draft by your Jacksonville Jaguars, as well as, everybody else in the NFL. Draft season is behind us. OTA season, mini camp season is kind of upon us. That's about to happen, so we'll certainly talk about all that. Glad you're with us on the program. Frank Frangie, Hays Carlyon, JJ LaSelva. You saw Pearl Jam. How was it?
Oh, it's great.
Pretty fantastic.
Yeah, we saw.
Your first time seeing them?
It was, yeah, and really, there aren't that many bands from because that's like a my generation band.
Yeah, right.
It was great seeing the Rolling Stones a couple times in the last few years and the Eagles at the Sphere, but Pearl Jam that's a band that broke when I was in high school. I was telling you, I had to look it up after the show because it was fantastic. But Eddie Vedder is 60, and I didn't think there was that big of a gap between our ages. But it was the first time I've ever seen a band from my generation,
right, where
a lot of the people that were around us at the show, it was at the Hard Rock in South Florida.
Right,
it's like Hollywood. It's kind of Fort Lauderdale area. It was the first time I've been at a show for a band from I would say my era, where people were literally losing their minds for seeing them for the first time.
That's very cool.
So it was awesome, and they were great. I'm a fan of them. I'm not a diehard some people were camping out at 10 a.m. to get into the general the floor area.
Right.
But it was great. It was cool to see him at a smaller venue. I think it's a 7,000, 8,000 seat little arena there that they have in the casino. And but they were fantastic. They played a bunch of the songs I love. I love their first album the best. And they are supporting a new album, Dark Matter. So there was 5 songs off the new album that I'm not that familiar with, but it was great. We had a great time, and it was definitely a big one to check off the list.
I will say Pearl Jam, and it's not my thing because it came along after I quit discovering new music, but I would say Pearl Jam, if you don't count the 70s bands, that's when the rock stuff blew up. If you don't count the 70s bands, they may be one of the most iconic rock bands in the world. U2, if you don't count the 70s bands, meaning anybody that broke it all in the 70s, to use your phrase, then U2 is probably the most iconic band in the world, right?
Yes.
If you don't count this, you can't count the 70s,
right?
Okay, then U2 is probably first.
I would say so.
Pearl Jam's right there on the ballot, though, right?
They are, because they've had the longevity. You don't know what would Nirvana be today if Kurt Cobain hadn't committed suicide. You just don't know. And that creates a whole other set of dominoes, because then does Dave Grohl create Foo Fighters, right, which has had a great run. They're not on Pearl Jam's level, but
if Nirvana never goes away, he never leaves. And
correct.
Then there's no
so
Foo
it's
Fighters, right.
But Soundgarden, it lost Chris Cornell, however many, 7-10 years ago. And I was glad to see they got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame over the weekend. But yeah, Pearl Jam sort of is the only one that's had that sort of staying power from that group of bands that broke all around the same time and launched the grunge era of rock. And so yeah, I think they've had a great legacy. For me, their first album is by far their best one. They've got some good other songs off of other records, but so I never stuck with them and listened to everything they came out with. I thought 10 was a perfect record, their first one, and then their follow-ups after that just steadily lost me a little bit. But I've always wanted to see them, just because that is my youth, in that kind of era of rock. Obviously, I was a child of the 80s, so I love all that music. But in terms of, becoming a teenager and a young adult, that was sort of the big, right, rock at that point, Pearl Jam and all those bands.
All right. So I'm glad you had a great time. It was a lot of great stuff. Let's talk draft a little bit. All kind of thoughts about that. But it was a crazy busy draft for the Jaguars. I want to weigh in on everything the Jaguars did. I want to weigh in on Shadeur Sanders, because I just realized the federal law has been passed that you have to talk about him for 5 minutes or you can't talk about the draft, which is astounding to me.
It really is amazing.
It honest to God, it is, but we'll get to that. We'll talk about what teams did better, what teams did worse. A lot of draft talk today in the program. It'll be Hays, JJ, and I. Bucky Brooks, our friend from NFL Network, and, of course, the Jaguar Radio Network, will join me at 5 o'clock. He'll join us to talk all about what happened in the draft and how he thought the Jags did. He'll weigh in on Shadeur, who he's known, by the way, forever, because Dion worked at NFL Network, so he's known him since he was a kid. So he's known Travis Hunter since he got with Dion. So he's certainly a lot of conversations we'll do. And Bucky joins us at 5:00. I'll start. I love where they are. Now, look, there's no way of knowing how good the players will be here. You can guess all you want. Everybody grades drafts and grades at A+, B-. We don't know. You're never going to know how a player is going to be as a pro, particularly when you start picking third round and down. Everyone says there's a drop-off after the third round. I think people say that because that's when you go to Saturday. In my mind, the drop-off's after the second round. I think after the second round, most years, it's a different player. Yeah. So, and the Jags only had one player that wasn't after the second round. But I like, there were some themes I liked. If the theme in physicality or the theme in free agency was physicality, they got more physical. They signed 4 offensive linemen. They signed 2 tight ends. They signed 2 very physical defensive backs. That's probably the calling card for Eric Murray for sure. And probably Jordan Lewis is they're more physical than fast. So if physicality was the theme of free agency, well, speed was one of these themes. They drafted Travis Hunter, who's one of the fastest players in college football. They drafted Tootin, who timed out as the fastest running back.
4.32.
The fastest running back and the 5th fastest time at the combine overall. The gunner from Navy can really run. I think they drafted him to be a gunner, but he can really run. So I think there was a theme. The other theme, it was very clear, whether you buy into this or not, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's hokey or not, this whole phrase of love ball. These guys love ball. The left guard from West Virginia, and he'll be a guard, by the way. And I'm going to talk.
Milam, yeah.
Well, Wyatt Milam, he loves ball. Jack Kaiser loves ball. Travis Hunter loves ball. Bashul Tootin loves ball. So whether it works or not, we'll see. But very clearly, and I got a lot of thoughts about all this. Very clearly, they drafted speed. They all of a sudden have some fast guys now. They drafted guys who, quote unquote, love ball. They're going to fit their culture. It's very clear. You draft the Notre Dame guy. You draft the Navy guy. You're drafting guys.
Syracuse.
You draft a Syracuse guy. You're drafting guys that love ball. And I think by adding Emmanuel Ogbah, I do think they filled the rooms. The one room I wasn't sure was full was the edge room. The defensive tackle room, I wouldn't have minded one more defensive tackle, either a veteran or a draft pick. But the room's full. I just hope the room's full with enough good players. But so all the rooms are full. I feel confident. I think they added to their speed in the draft. They added to their physicality in free agency. And I think they have guys that'll fit their culture. Now, again, I can tell you Travis Hunter is going to be a great player. I'll tell you, I have no problem saying that. He's going to be not good. He'll be a great player. I mean, barring injury,
right?
He's going to be a great player.
Yeah, if he plays 17 games next year, he's going to win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he's going to be a great player. There's no doubting that. The other draft,
he might finish high in the MVP.
Yeah, I mean, he really is going to.
If he's going to give you
both sides,
700 snaps on one side and 600 on the other.
Yeah, right. So there's no doubt in my mind what he will be. The others, I don't know. There's not one other player where I say, he's going to be great. I don't know that, but I like what I think they drafted. Speed, culture, filled the rooms. I felt good about it. And now listen, I know who I am. I'm the glasses half full guy. I look, I've always admitted who I am, okay? The Jags could lose 75-0 and have 2 first downs. Frank, what'd you think? Well, those 2 first downs, they were pretty good. Good play. I mean, that's who I am. So I admit to that. But having said all that, I thought I liked where they landed. I really did.
Yeah, and I thought they did a good job. Gladstone did a good job in building back the 26 draft capital, which obviously got compromised in going up to get Travis Hunter, which was, it's still worth doing that. But I even thought, a potential problem next year helped get solved with the trading back with the Lions and picking up 2 third-round selections in next year's draft from Detroit. So you've maintained a double-digit amount of picks in next year's draft. And but yeah, I mean, it was speed. We've talked about it for a long time. This team just doesn't have enough of it. And to get Caleb Ransaw, who's going to play safety, who's posted a 4.33 40 We talked about Tootin, 4.32. Travis Hunter didn't test, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's a 4.3 guy.
Yeah, call me nutty. Call me nutty.
Right.
I think he's fast.
Yeah, so you've really added there. We know about De'Ami Brown. That's a big component of his game, is that speed.
Yeah, he's the one fast free agent.
Right. And then obviously you have BTJ in terms of guys they inherited that we know is incredibly fast. So, yeah, I think in looking at that, it really stood out. Getting Milam where they got him, I think he's absolutely the starting left guard. I would think, my guess is they'll try to get something for Ezra Cleveland, but maybe they'll have him compete. But I love the fact that there's, not counting the undrafted guy, there's six new offensive linemen, 4 free agents, and they drafted 2, Milam and Monheim, the center out of USC. So that room is starting to really get turned over like it needed to. It needed to be reimagined. They've certainly gone a long way towards that. And I give Gladstone credit as well, at least comparing him to Bucky, because Dave Caldwell wasn't like this. Dave Caldwell he wasn't stubborn. Trent Baalke certainly was, and for the last 2 years, the Jaguars have not had anything in terms of edge depth. And it's just sort of been this defiant, when he's asked about it, well, who should we have signed? There just never was. It was like obvious, you've got to do this. I mean, and that's what happened last year when Roy Robertson Harris was 3rd on the team in sacks 6 weeks after he'd been traded to the Seahawks. And so they had to do something there. And Gladstone, I thought, was very forthcoming when asked about it. He was like, look, the draft is always going to fall a certain way. And it just fell to where when we were on the clock, we never felt great about the value along the defensive line. So we didn't want to force it, but we will now have to go make a move. And he doesn't wait, a week. He doesn't wait a month or just completely ignores it. He goes and gets a very proven veteran edge rusher, and Emmanuel Ogbah, who will come in here, and he will, if he's healthy, that's going to be, you want to know who's 3rd in the team in sacks this year? Him. It's going to be some combination of Trayvon, Josh Hines-Allen, and then Ogbah, if they're all healthy. Because he's a guy you can count on. He's been doing this for a while. He's got 47 career sacks. He's made a lot of big plays in his career. To go along with 9 forced fumbles and 4 fumble recoveries. And so he had 5 sacks last year. So it's not like a lot of this production is years ago and he's just sort of been hanging on. He's a good player. And he, to be honest, is going to be better this year than a player they would have taken probably in the 3rd round or beyond. So I like that. It's refreshing. It's like, okay, this didn't go our way, but we're going to strike immediately before other clubs, decide to take another peek at who is available on the free agent market still. Go get your guy. That is how you run an organization.
And I'm with you. I like what they've done. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to go through all the draft picks. I'll tell you what impact I think they'll have. I'll tell you what. We're not going to pretend to know a lot about them. Most of these guys I hadn't heard of till the Jags drafted them. I'm not going to be disingenuous about it, but we've certainly. I love to go and watch highlights afterwards. Yeah. So we've all done that. I'm
and
sure.
Luckily, we've got the beast.
Yes, we do.
Thank goodness for Dane Brugler.
Yeah. So, but I went and watched highlights of a lot of these guys. By the way, I went and watched because I'm stupid. I probably watched 15 minutes, which is extreme. I'm not making this up, of Travis Hunter highlights. God almighty, you ever gone and watched them?
Oh, it's amazing.
Have you ever gone and watched them?
It's basically all I did Friday.
I mean, he's got the run by you stuff that the fast guys have. He has that Percy Harvin stop and start stuff. His hands are stupid.
Oh, it's
catches. It's just. Honest to God, it's. I want him to play some cornerback because he's good at both, and from the red zone, I want him to go pick off passes in the end zone. But I can't wait to watch him as a receiver, man. I now know why that's what people fell in love with. They fell in love with both, but they fell in heavy love with the receiver. So, but anyway,
his acceleration and agility, it's otherworldly.
Yeah, it really is. So we're kind of a little bit giddy around here, but I'm going to go through all the Jaguar draft picks. Hays and I'll tell you what we think of every one of those. I do want to get to the Shadeur, the rest of the draft. We'll do that in a second in the 440 segment, I suppose. I'm still astounded at so much about that story, and I'll tell you what astounds me when we get there. But let's talk Jaguars draft. That's how we'll kick off the program. Bucky Brooks, by the way, at 5 o'clock. He'll give you his thoughts as well. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Our world is full of balls and fields and games. It's a fantasy life.
Do you believe in unlikelihood?
Come join the fun.
It is a game.
1010XL.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
Fantastic news here. Due to overwhelming response, Beers Diamonds extending their amazing earring and bracelet sale for Mother's Day. Hicken here. So now through Mother's Day, you can still save up to 40% off diamond earrings and diamond tennis bracelets. It's Beers' most ambitious offer ever, and response has been incredible. The corporate-owned big box stores can't touch these prices. Beers, locally owned, man. Say hi to the Lupos when you go over there. The freedom to give you pricing you deserve. Highest quality diamond jewelry. Celebrate the mothers in your life with something they'll appreciate for decades to come. They also have special pricing on other Mother Day favorites, including colored gemstones, pearls, pendants, and fashion jewelry. Beards Diamonds, your destination for making this Mother's Day truly special. Don't miss Beards Diamonds' biggest sale ever. Up to 40% off Beards' already beatable value price. Now through Mother's Day at the Town Center. Only locally owned jeweler. It's Beards Diamonds.
An ACL tear can be a devastating injury with prolonged pain and rehabilitation. Hi, I'm Dr. George Bari. I'm a sports medicine orthopedic surgeon who grew up right here in Jacksonville and then went on to train with the world-renowned Dr. James Andrews. At Bari Orthopedics, we use the most current techniques to get you back on the field with less pain and quicker rehabilitation. We treat all types of sports injuries with the newest techniques available. Please call us for consultation or visit BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Out here, you'll find a community of hardworking creators with loyal followers, along with proud moments worth sharing. And farm to table, well, that's just supper. And whether it's a raised garden bed, acres of land, or something for your animals, we've got all the supplies and are happy to share a little know-how.
Welcome to Tractor Supply. Into life out here.
Attention Florida homeowners, for 1 month only. Save big with Renewal by Anderson. Get $300 off every window and $825 off all patio doors. Plus, call now and ask about our brand new Ensemble entry door system. But hurry, this limited time offer won't last. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com today to schedule your free design consultation. That's bestwindowsflorida.com. Renewal by Anderson, your trusted window and door experts. Superior products, exceptional service. License number CGC 1527613.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
Share a cup of coffee and range balls with Dan, Jeff, and PGA pros. Tour news, tips, and inside info.
Sounds like a lot of club for this young man.
Brunch with the Tour.
Brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation, 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. Tired of glasses or contacts? Discover customized vision solutions at Bowden Eye & Associates. Dr. Bowden's team offers cutting-edge options like Evo implantable Collamer lenses or refractive lens exchange and classic LASIK, designed to fit your life. Picture perfect vision for reading, driving, or just enjoying the day. It's easier than you think. Call now for your free screening. Bowden Eye & Associates, they're keeping the First Coast focused.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you, Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. You've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Slacker plumbing.
Yeah, hey, listen, I need a plumber over here right now.
Yeah, well, we don't have any openings for about 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yep.
I was just changing the shower head and the water line broke and it's flying everywhere.
All right, 1 week.
What if I throw you an extra $100 to come now?
What's the address?
It's 205
Oh, I guess he changed his mind.
If you've got a leak that can't wait a week, call Roland Reese Plumbing and fix your plumbing problems fast. PlumbingJacksonville.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Best Bet Monday on The Frangie Show with fantastic locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now in St. Augustine. It's Best Bet.
The Run Good Poker Tournament's in full swing right now at Best Bet Jacksonville. 3 main events happen this week. You heard us talk about that Run Good event. Well, now's the time to get over there. All kind of fun. It's one of the best events of the year, that Run Good event. There's so many sidebars to it. But you want to get to Best Bet Jacksonville right now. You can see all the tournament and promo deals at bestbetjacks.com. And you know there's 3 great locations. There's St. Augustine just off of I-95. There is the Orange Park location on 17 and that main location right there on Monument Road. And that's where that Best Bet is going. The Run Good is going on right now at Best Bet Jacksonville. So head over there. 3 main event. They happen this week. Frangie and Carlyon La Selva with you as we continue along here. You know about Travis Hunter. I think he's going to be such a good player. My guess is Travis Hunter will be a starting receiver. My guess is he will start along with Brian Thomas Jr. and possibly De'Ami Brown, which if De'Ami Brown's what they think he can be, that is one heck of a trio in my opinion. I think he will be a starting wide receiver. I think they will try and figure out how much cornerback he can also play, but I don't think he'll play very much cornerback at the expense of wide receiver. I would guess. My guess is the load would include times of game, red zone, late moments. I don't necessarily think when the opponent starts first down from their own 25 or their own 30 that he's necessarily lined up at cornerback. I do think 4.5 minutes to play in a 6-point game, you're going to see an awful lot of him at cornerback. By the way, is he going to be number 12? I need an answer.
Yeah, that's what he had at the press conference.
Okay. Well, let me just ask you this.
Yeah. Hey, Nick Mullins, you're no longer 12.
Can you possibly pry that out of the hands of Nick Mullins,
right?
Who's never been here till now?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of those where
did you show up and say, hey, Nick, you pick Nick, 14 or 15?
Yeah, Nick's a smart guy.
Yeah.
So my guess is he kind of saw the writing on the wall. But if he had an objection, I think then the response from Gladstone and Cohen and Baselli is, well, I'm sure, the Vikings might still have 12. Oh, here, we can just cut you.
Hey, Nick.
And you can go be 12 somewhere else.
Hey, Nick, 14 or 15. You tell us.
Yeah.
We want you to pick. Okay. Right. All right. So, but I think my guess is number 12 is probably going to wind up playing mostly offense and again, defense in crucial situations. I think he's going to be very good. We talked about that all day on Friday's program. Caleb Ransaw was the next pick, the Jags. That's a 3rd rounder, number 88 overall. He's a cornerback at Tulane, but they made it clear they took him as a safety. They even listed him as a safety when they turned it into the NFL. He's 6 feet. He's 200 pounds. He's a physical tackler. I don't get the sense from what I'm told and hearing and that they love their safety room. I think it's one of the reasons they went and got Eric Murray. I think even though Jordan Lewis is going to be more nickel, he's got safety traits, and I think they drafted 2 safeties. I think Ransaw is going to be a safety. Hays, he went in the top 90 of the draft. He was this regime's 2nd pick. I would be very surprised if he's not given every opportunity to start at safety opposite Eric Murray. That I'm not going to proclaim starters yet, but I've got to believe they drafted Caleb Ransaw from Tulane with the idea of making him a safety that starts alongside Eric Murray. I believe that.
I think it's disappointing if he's not the safety. I mean, to me, that's one that, on the first day at training camp in late July, he should be running with the ones if that pick is correct. And that's what I would anticipate. I think they obviously, Gladstone talked about how impressed they were with him at the Senior Bowl. He went through safety drills at the Senior Bowl, even though he played nickel last year at Tulane. But yeah, like you mentioned, great tackler. You love that 4.33 speed. And Liam Cohen has a connection to one of Ransaw's coaches. So this was somebody they felt like they had a special amount of intelligence on and really liked what they'd seen on film.
Yeah, the connection is to the head coach. John Sumrall, the head coach at Tulane, was a defensive coach for 3 years, including all the years Liam was at Kentucky. They got to be pretty good buddies. I think Liam said he bought his house at one point. So they got to be. So they talked a lot about him.
Yeah, and so I would imagine that, with all the guys that were on the board when they made this selection at 88 overall, Ransaw is absolutely I think you can write that one in pen, that if he's healthy, he's the week one starting safety opposite of Eric Murray.
One pick later, they took Wyatt Milam. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Milam. They took Wyatt Milam. Interesting guy. He's durable as heck. He was a 4-year player at West Virginia, started most of the time. He was a left tackle, and he's a 6'6", 317-pound guy. Now, if you read all the reports, he doesn't have super long arms, but he's 6'6". He's 317. He's a big physical player. The Jags made it very clear he's here to play guard. See, you and I had this talk last week. They like their tackles. They like the fact that between Walker Little and Anton Harrison and Fred Johnson and Aduma, they like their tackles. They feel like they've created the right competition at tackle. They wanted to find another guard, and we talked about this. And so, whereas I'm pretty convinced Hainsey and McCarry start, I don't know that Milam starts ahead of Ezra Cleveland, but I do believe that's the competition. I do believe they got him here to possibly be their starting left guard, at the very worst, to really push Ezra Cleveland. So Ransaw, I think, will really push whoever possibly could start at safety, Antonio Johnson, whoever else, Dewey, who could possibly start opposite Eric Murray. And again, I haven't seen these guys, so I don't really know. But just trying to read the tea leaves of where they were drafted, my guess is Wyatt Milam and Ezra Cleveland go head-to-head, and the winner is the left guard for the Jaguars.
Yeah, and again, I would think it would be a disappointment for this new Jaguars brass if Milam is not the left guard. I think the plan is that he is being drafted to be the starting left guard. Didn't allow a sack his last 3 years at West Virginia, which is remarkable. 43 career starts, 35 at left tackle, 8 at right tackle. And again, a theme that was really throughout this entire draft, particularly when you got beyond Thursday, Senior Bowl. That was something that they really leaned on, the film of the Senior Bowl, and seeing how these guys compete against other guys in their draft class. And so, yeah, you look at Milam. Liam Cohen talked about his ability to finish, his toughness. I would be surprised if he's not the starting left guard.
So now the way your room your offensive line room looks right now, and I'm gonna do a depth chart here, whether it's right or not, just for the sake of this conversation. Walker Little and Fred Johnson compete to be the left tackle. And we'll see who winds up starting. Pete Prisco said he wouldn't be surprised if it's Johnson, but the incumbent Walker Little, the free agent Fred Johnson. Ezra Cleveland and Wyatt Milam, I would guess, are going to compete at left guard. Robert Hainsey, I think, will be your center, but I think he came here. But Luke Fortner's still on the roster, and he's played a lot of center here, and they drafted a center. And so I mean, if you've drafted a center, and by the way, you obviously wind up bringing a guy in, Monheim. So all of a sudden, I think guess what? I think now you have a opportunity to have that room's okay. Your right guard, I think, will be Patrick McCarry. If Cooper Hodges is healthy, now he had a bad injury. That was a bad knee injury, but he's a tough guy. So if he's healthy, he's a good physical guy to play behind McCarry and push him a little bit. And then the two right tackles are Chuma Udoga, who they brought in, playing behind Anton Harrison, who they drafted in the first round. Now that's 10 guys. Cole Van Lannon is also on the team, so they're going to go to camp with more than 10. But, Hays, I think they did a nice job now by adding Milam of filling out that room. 4 in free agency and a guy they think will be a very good left guard in the draft. I think they've repaired that room. I without seeing them play, we don't know, but that's my sense.
They definitely have done a good job of building the depth of players that they coveted. From a skill set standpoint. So, if they get into camp and they don't like how Walker Little looks, they've given themselves an out with Fred Johnson. If Anton Harrison is struggling as well, you've certainly applied pressure there. I think it'll be Milam at left guard. So I think with Ezra Cleveland, it's interesting. Do you try to trade him for something? And he'll have a market just because the offensive line is so scarce. There will be teams that look at Ezra Cleveland, like his skill set, think it fits them. And not everybody, but of the 32, my guess is there's probably 4 or 5 that he would be a decent fit for. And so, could he be somebody that over the course of the next 3 months gets moved? That wouldn't surprise me. I did a 53-man projection just on my own, and looking at the offensive line, I kept 10. I had Little, Milam, Hainsey, McCarry, Harrison, and then Fred Johnson, Udoga, Monheim, Ezra Cleveland, and Fortner. But if you trade Cleveland, then Van Lannon would, I think, and may already, but I would think, my point is there were a couple guys, Hodges,
right.
There were a couple guys that have been here that I cut in my projection because I feel like everybody that they've brought in, the 4 free agents and the 2 draft picks, I think they're going to be part of the 10.
No question.
Yeah.
There's no
right.
Well, Monheim I don't know as much because he was drafted so low, but by and large, generally speaking, the point you're making is dead on. You keep the guys you drafted. So I hope Cleveland stays because I hope there's depth at the position. You have injuries, I hope, but we'll see. In the 4th round, the 104th overall pick, Bashul Tootin, keep an eye on him because now that's a position where somebody you drafted is not going to be on the team. Travis Etienne, you drafted. Obviously, you drafted Tank Bigsby. You drafted 31. I'm drawing a blank from Texas.
Oh, Keelan Robinson.
You drafted.
He's going to need a really big camp.
Bashul. I mean, you now have 5 running backs. You took LaQuinton Allen too. You now have 5 running backs as of today that you drafted. Well, you're not keeping 5 running backs.
Yeah. I think it's Keelan Robinson. I think would be the odd man out going in.
At least one of them, if there's not 2 odd men out.
Yeah.
So, but Tootin is fast as Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne's fast now. Tootin is really fast. And I think it's crazy not to think that Liam Cohen found his Bucky Irving. I think that's the conversation everyone's going to have, and it makes some sense.
Without a doubt. When I look at Bashul Tootin, Achane from the Dolphins kind of stands out to me. I mean,
really fast.
That kind of speed element.
Yeah.
And
that's a good comp.
And I think when you look at Tootin, I think he even is a tougher runner. I mean, he averaged 6.3 yards per carry last year, but 4.4 of that came after contact. So this is somebody that is able to, break tackles. And even though he's a big time speed option, he's also a great kick returner. He returned 2 for touchdowns in college. Catches the ball well.
It's interesting. You came out with Achane. I came up with Isaiah Pacheco. Isn't it funny? You see a guy, and you wonder who he is. So he's got a chance. Also,
they talked about importance of scoring points. Tootin, 29 touchdowns offensively in the last 2 years combined, and again was at the Senior Bowl.
And I wonder how many of those 29 touchdowns were from 20 yards or more.
Yeah.
I mean, because every time you turn down a highlight tape, he's running away from somebody. Also in the 4th round, the 107th overall pick. I'm going to go quickly through some of these. Jack Kaiser. He's a guy that loves ball. What they said, Gladstone made a good point. Said he was impressed. He'll do whatever. He goes to the Senior Bowl. He'll play safety when they need him to. My guess is the starting linebackers are Oluokun at the mic, Ventrell Miller at the will. I do think they're going to move Devin Lloyd to the Sam. That's my opinion. The backups then, Chad Muma will be the one in the middle. And I think Kaiser's got a chance to beat him out as the backup inside linebacker.
I think so as well. I mean, again, Kaiser will definitely be on the roster.
No question.
And so, yeah, you love the fact that he played in 70 career games in Notre Dame, a school record. He has 975 career special team snaps, did punt cover all 6 years. So, certainly is going to be able to help them be a core special teams guy right out of the gate. Again, we go back to the Senior Bowl. Jack Kaiser voted by his teammates top linebacker during the week of practice. And then because they were down bodies in the secondary because of opt-outs, because a lot of guys will get like 1 day of practice in, and then particularly if they have a good day of practice, they'll sort of opt out. And even the guys that go through the week of practice may not participate in the game because it's a little bit harder to control, greater risk of injury. So Gladstone pointed out that, Kaiser was willing to go to safety just to help them kind of get through the game, knowing that was a spot that he could look poor in doing. But it spoke to the Jaguars about his competitiveness and again, his love of the sport.
I'm going to lump the next 3-4 guys in there together real quick here, okay? So that gets us through the 4th round. There's no 5th-round picks. Jalen McLeod from Auburn, he's an edge. They needed an edge. He's a veteran edge, a transfer in. That's why he's there. Rayon Lane from Navy is a safety who will be a gunner on punt teams. I think that's why they got him, but I think he's going to compete there. Monheim's a center. I think he gives them depth if he makes the team. And LaQuint Allen, he caught 64 passes last year.
I love that pick. That's one of my favorite picks they made of the 3 days.
Of all the running backs, and do you realize this? Of all the FBS running backs, he had more catches than any of them. 64. Now, Kyle McCord's a really good quarterback and they had a really good passing game. He caught more passes, Hayes, than any running back in major college football last year. That's your third down. He's going to be on the team, and there's your third down back.
I think so as well. He was one of 2 players, along with Cam Scatterbo, obviously the brilliant player from Arizona State, to have 1,000 yards on the ground and 500 receiving yards as well. Fantastic practice habits. He's just 20 years old. I mean, so this is a guy that probably a little disappointed with where he went because he could have played a couple more years of college football, but he's just 20. LaQuint Allen. So, the versatility that he offers in terms of being lined up in the slot or out wide. He had 122 receiver snaps last year or lined up in a receiver position and 32 total touchdowns in college. So, again, somebody that's proven can get in the end zone. Again, a very young player. If LaQuint Allen had returned to college, had a big year, who knows? He might have been a 3rd-round pick next year, but elected to go ahead and start his professional career. And so, again, I would imagine one of the youngest players in the entire draft if he's yet to turn 21.
I'll wrap with this. They drafted 9 players. They're going to have a lot of rookies on the team. In my opinion, barring injury, the only one of the 9 who I don't sense will be who I don't sense will have an impact this year is Jonah Monheim. I think he'll be the 2nd or 3rd team center.
Yeah, ideally he'll be like a healthy scratch for 17 straight games because that'll mean you've got some good health along your line.
The rest of the guys, I think, will impact the 2025 Jaguars. I believe that. Even if it's Rayon Lane just as a gunner, even if McLeod is the 4th edge, I think every one of these guys will impact. You agree with that?
I do.
I think they'll all impact the season.
Yeah,
they'll impact this season.
And again, going back to Gladstone's pre-draft comments, they wanted to have clear lanes for draft picks to be able to step into roles, and all these guys have a very clear path to either a starting spot.
That's right.
Or significant special teams role right out of the gate.
Other stories from the draft. We'll talk about them after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Hear everything you need to know about Duval's home team every day.
I didn't see a lot of blitz.
You got 4 deep guys on the home of the Jaguars. 1010XL.
Are you ready to step up to luxury?
Check out the power of our exciting 2025 lineup, including the Lyric, IQ, Optique, and the stunning Vistique.
With over 15 electric Cadillacs in stock and more on the way, it's the perfect time to trade in your Tesla and embrace luxury with a twist.
At Randy Marion, there are no tariffs. So visit Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville, and see why our electric lineup turns heads.
Don't miss out. Drive Cadillac, electric or gas. We have both. Plus tax tag title $9.99 admin fee and resist all on approved credit.
Frank Frangie here for South State Bank. At South State, they believe strong relationships build strong businesses. That's why they take the time to understand your goals, challenges, and vision so they can provide solutions tailored to your needs, like they've done for me for years. South State has always been there for our business and our charity. With a team you can trust and a commitment to personalized service, South State Bank is here to be more than your bank. They're your partner in business. Visit southstatebank.com. South State Bank, member FDIC.
Need a fast casual option that's healthy, fresh, and delicious? Choose the Great Greek Mediterranean Grill. Gyros, salads, hummus, and more made completely fresh right as you order. Off 210 and St. John's Parkway. The Great Greek Mediterranean Grill.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. The coolest cats in town. Setting the standard in our hometown. Quality service, the best around. Coolidge is the cat that cares about your heating and about your air. Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. The coolest cats in town.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, you have told us about buying better quality diamonds, but is there any way to start with a smaller diamond and use it to trade up to a larger diamond later on?
Frank, it's interesting you'd ask that because our founder, H.F. Underwood, popularized growing your diamond here in Jacksonville about 50 years ago, and it's something we still do today. When a customer buys an Underwood engagement ring or solitaire diamond pendant or a pair of ear studs, we guarantee they get the price they paid for it on the purchase of any larger diamond. Now, a lot of stores would say, big deal. We do that too, but here's the Underwood difference. We guarantee you get what you paid when you trade in your Underwood diamond, even if you're trading up by only $1. It's not that you have to trade up 2 for 1 like most jewelers ask. There have been literally thousands of people in the Jacksonville area who have taken advantage of our policy, and Underwood still grows a lot of diamonds for a lot of people.
Underwood, serving excellence since 1928. In San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Tailgaters parking season passes are on sale now. Secure your Jaguar season parking today. Enjoy indoor restrooms, a full-service bar and grill, access 4 hours before kickoff. Visit tailgatersparking.com and book your space today.
Get closer to nature.
Trying to get close to these bucks out here.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Favor, and Captain Kirk Walls. The Nimnicht Outdoor Show. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Hacker here with an opportunity. Drop 40 pounds by the 4th. You can do it. I dropped my first 40 in 6 weeks. Hays did it, Dempsey, Ballou, and thousands of others have done it. 40 by the 4th with Awaken180weightloss.com.
Lauren Brooks here. I've trusted Big Chief Tire with my car for years. For 4 generations, Big Chief Tire has been keeping Jacks rolling with integrity, hard work, and always putting customers first. When I take my car in, I know I'm getting more than just great service. I'm getting treated like family. So if your car needs tires, brakes, or AC work, head to Big Chief. Visit WeKeepJacksRolling.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your appointment today.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just the job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer. there.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. 1010
Take.
The 1010 Take is brought to you by Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, and air conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck, duckduckrooter.com. My take is this. I don't think I've ever been more put off by draft coverage focusing on one story, and that's the Shadeur Sanders drop. I understand that he was projected to go in the first round and he went in the fifth or wherever he went, and that surprised everybody. I understand that. I understand that was the news of the day. I understand that was the story that SportsCenter was going to lead with. I understood all that. But I thought the coverage, and I love both in NFL Network and ESPN's coverage. I really do. I think they do a great job. I'm a big Eisen fan. I thought Rich Eisen, who's so good, went on and on and on about it so much that I couldn't believe it. And I wasn't even watching the Kuiper-Reese Davis thing. I saw that on social media afterwards. And I thought, what in the world are we doing? I thought it was Kuiper's worst moment as a draft analyst, and I think sometimes people just have to admit they were wrong. I'll get to the Shadeur thing in a minute and why he dropped and all that. But before you get to all that, I was totally put off by how much attention the fact that he was dropping got. It's not like you signed a contract to be in the first round and someone pulled. There's no contract. It's just a bunch of people guessing. Admit you guessed wrong and move along. It really made the coverage of the draft bothersome and almost unenjoyable for me the way the whole thing went on.
I would agree. I think part of it was a bad draft for storylines. I don't think it was a particularly great draft anyway, but from a storyline standpoint, it was a poor draft as well. So I think it was one of the most stunning falls we've ever seen. So I think that certainly led to it being hard for them to get away from it, but you got to get away from it at some point. I mean, you got to get away from it, and yeah, you can't be personally offended. Look, I mean, who would have thought you would own everything I possess if you had told me on Wednesday that Graham Mertz was going to go a full round earlier than Quinn Ewers?
Been trying to tell you, Graham Mertz is the guy.
Yeah, a full round earlier than Quinn Ewers.
Great point.
Yeah. And there's no outrage there. There because it's the other thing too that they should have touched on this more. The NIL component, I think, particularly at the quarterback position, this was the first year where I think that really came into play in terms of how much do these guys really need this job. Shadeur Sanders is a multimillionaire. Quinn Ewers is a multimillionaire. And I do think for some of these teams, if they're not feeling that you're going to be dedicated at that position, which obviously played a role in this, then yeah, I mean, I think you're going to, I don't think this will be abnormal. Right. I think you will see college athletes that made a ton of money in NIL, and when they finally get into the draft, the fire just isn't there. Let's just be honest. A lot of people play football because of the money. Well, if you have made life-changing money, if you've made $5 to $10 million, you may not be really willing to work, and that is going to come through when these teams talk to your the coaches that have worked with you, the teammates, when they talk to you directly. It is going to come through. And so I thought part of it as well was it went beyond Shadeur Sanders, but the whole conversation was completely focused around him. Whereas I think now, if you're a college quarterback, unless you pretty much know you're going top 10, you should stay in college, cash a $5 million check from either the school you're at or your next school. And that's the play.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I hadn't even done in my mind the NIL component, but you're right. That's a really good take because there's no question it affects it. You're right about that. I think, though, what I was so put off by, the NFL, Mel Kiper goes, the NFL has been lousy at assessing quarterbacks, and the NFL, Stephen A. Smith, the NFL, bad luck for the NFL. The NFL doesn't draft players.
Correct.
The NFL has never drafted a player. There are 32 independent companies. They are companies. And all these companies have to decide when they hire employees, do the employees fit the company? Do they fit them from a culture standpoint, from a talent standpoint, from a work ethic standpoint? And we're lumping this NFL into this group as if the NFL did this to him. Well, the NFL didn't do anything. 32 teams, after 4 rounds, decided there's a better employee for me to hire right now than that employee. And how did we lose sight of that? How did we lose sight of that 32 teams, 32 independent companies have to make a decision on whether or not he's a good fit? As for why he's not, I'll be honest. I said this last week. I thought Jackson Dart was the second best. I thought Cam Ward was the best quarterback in the draft. I thought Jackson Dart was the second best quarterback in the draft, and I told you that. I said that on this show. I think Garrett Nussmeier would have been the third best quarterback in the draft if he had come out. And so I did. I didn't. Tyler Shuck, I didn't see enough, the Louisville quarterback, but the other ones I did. And but again, if what you read, we weren't in the interview rooms, but at times he came off as arrogant. He came off as entitled. He came off as disinterested. If that's true, and maybe it's not, but it was people like Albert Breer writing.
It's clearly true.
Yeah, but it was.
We have the data now.
Yeah, right, but it was people like Albert Breer writing it, not some guy with a website in his garage. And so, if he came off as arrogant or disinterested or entitled, if he's a good, not great talent, and you only get to draft 7 guys unless you've acquired other picks. You only get to hire 7 employees. That's all you get to hire. Why would you hire one you don't think is going to fit your company? And I mean,
and will be accepting of a backup role.
And it's the one, correct. And this is the one pro sports or the one job in the world where which employee gets hired is under the microscope. I promise you, when the bank goes to hire the tellers, no one says, "Whoo, how did you not hire Clarice? She is the best at counting dollars I've ever seen. Clarice counts those dollars. Can you believe they didn't hire her? She's the best dollar counter." Well, no other jobs have that. In sports, you hire, we watch who you hire, and we criticize whether you hire the right employee. I was astounded. I don't mind that if a guy's expected to go in the first round and he drops a couple rounds. Okay, that's a story. I don't maintain that it's not a story. But for God's sake, it's over. And now he gets drafted. When he gets drafted, were you as put off by that part as I was? That's the part that really, and I love Rich Eisen, but almost every pick, every time someone got picked, Rich Eisen, and I love you, Rich, I'm a big fan, his first comment was, Shadeur drops again. Well, what about the guy that got picked?
Right.
What about the tight end that just went in the 4th round who's so thrilled, and the first thing he's going to hear about, they didn't pick Shadeur.
Right.
I was astounded by it. I really was.
Yeah, and again, in regards to Mel Kiper Jr., who I like. I mean, I've watched Mel Kiper Jr. do this since I was a little kid. He lost his mind. But what I would say is, yeah, of course, the NFL has been hit or miss on its evaluation of quarterbacks. Well, that's been good for you, Mel. That's your entire career. Yeah. If the draft was an exact science and we knew exactly who was going to be the best players, we wouldn't really pay much attention to the draft.
Well, not only
I mean, the whole, what makes the draft, part of what makes the draft so much fun is the fact of knowing that 60% of these first-round picks are going to be complete busts, and that percentage only gets higher when you get into rounds 2, 3, 4, and so on. Mel Kiper Jr. has built a career off of the unpredictability of the draft. So how can you then sit there and say, this is why the NFL hasn't been able to do this for 50 years? Well, it's a good thing for you they haven't been able to do it because it's given you a career.
Yeah, and by the way, all correct. And by the way, the NFL, again, like it's one company, has been no good at drafting quarterbacks. Well, let me tell you some other things. It also has been no good at knowing which running back, tight end, cornerback, and safety is going to be good. By the way, MLB's no good at drafting pitchers, catchers, and second baseman. The NBA is not particularly good, other than the top 2 or 3, at drafting power forwards. What makes sports so magical is you don't necessarily know who's going to be great and who's going to bond and that's the beauty of sport. If the NFL was great at drafting quarterbacks, to your point, Mel, you wouldn't have a job. B, we wouldn't watch the draft. That's the beauty of all. But anyway, back to Shadeur. I was so put off, and the thing, I think the race stuff bothered me. look, there's a time, once upon a time, that the NFL did not give just due to African-American quarterbacks. That was true, and nobody can deny that. But how that would come up now if Anthony Richardson beats out Daniel Jones, and assuming that Cam Ward's going to start ahead of Will Levis, then 18 of the 32 quarterbacks in the NFL are black men. So that's more than half. The point is Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels went 1-2 in last year's draft. Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud went 1-2 in the previous year's draft. Cam Ward was the first pick in the draft. Obviously, race is not at play at all. And so for some to suggest it was a race thing, it was just disappointing. That part was disappointing. The meltdown by Kuiper was disappointing. Rich and all the hosts going back to it over and over and over and over was disappointing. The guy dropped. Maybe he'll be a good player. And I was surprised too. I thought he'd be a first rounder. In fact, at one point, I thought he'd go all the way up to the top 5. Everybody did, and then it was clear he wasn't. But anyway, I was very put off. Other than that, I thought the draft coverage was fantastic on both stations. I watched more NFL Network than I did ESPN. But other than that, I was really put off.
I think also social media now really directs a lot of this coverage. And I think for a lot of people that were on social media, this might be one of the biggest falls they've seen. I'll just give you my experience as a fan. When I was 18 years old, Danny Warfel was in the draft, or maybe I was 19 or 20. When I was probably like 19 years old. Danny Warfel's in the draft. I'm convinced he's going to be awesome at the NFL level. The anticipation, the accuracy, how smart he is. He won all these SEC titles. He won the Heisman. He won a national championship. He's going to be fantastic. He's going to set the NFL on fire. The Saints took him in the 4th round. And at the time, I couldn't believe it. I was like, how is Danny Warfel not picked in the first 3 rounds of this draft? Well, you know why? Because he didn't have an arm. And it showed up at the NFL level. He didn't have the arm strength you need to play quarterback in the NFL. It is a gargantuan leap from college football to the NFL. And at that point, it was, and I was like, oh, the Saints just got to steal the draft. He's going to be phenomenal. He'll be in the Saints Hall of Fame one day. Danny Warfel. And 2 years later, he had not made any impact on the NFL and never would. It's a different, you've got to understand, it is a totally different league. And just because you were good in college does not mean that these 32 clubs are going to view you as somebody that can be a difference maker at their level.
We'll take a break. Bucky Brooks jumps in. We'll talk more draft after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here for Nimnick Buick GMC. You can experience professional grade at Nimnick Buick GMC, home of the largest inventory of GMC Sierras in Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. This month, save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierra 1500s or enjoy rates as low as 0% APR financing. That's right, 0%. You heard me right. Now, look, you can't find deals like this anywhere else in Jacksonville. Nimnick also has the largest selection of GMC's impressive SUV lineup, like the all-new redesigned GMC Acadia and the highly sought-after Yukon and Yukon XL. Curious about an EV? Save big with the all-new GMC Hummer EV, SUV, and truck. You get it. Nobody's got better stuff than Nimnick. Now's the time to experience professional grade at Nimnick Buick GMC. So who has put the most years and stands behind a better experience? Well, the answer is simple. Nobody but Nimnick. We are professional grade GMC.
1010XL puts the ball in play-by-play.
Kick on the way!
Impeccable today.
From way downtown.
That ball's ripped.
For play-by-play, it's 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here for Bono's Pit Barbecue. Bono's has been serving Jacksonville's best barbecue for over 75 years. And now, catch this. Bono's new limited time offer features an Atlantic fried cod platter with 2 pieces of mouth-watering fried cod and 1 southern side for $15.49, or a fried cod sandwich with 1 southern side for $12.99. You can't beat that deal. And after 1 bite, you'll be hooked. So you better hurry in. The fried cod platter right now at Bono's. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
David Lane here, and once again, I'm happy to share news of my successful back and knee surgeries at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Whatever it is that's bothering you, take it from me. Simply set an appointment today at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist and let them help you get back to normal life. I'm certainly glad I did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
When persistent plumbing problems leave you feeling flushed, don't panic. Call Roland Reich. They quote all pricing in advance, so your only surprise is how quickly they'll solve your issue. Roland Reich Plumbing. PlumbingJacksonville.com.
Beat the spring cleaning rush with big savings and priority booking by calling our heroes at Zero Res. This month, get Zero Resified from Jacksonville's #1 carpet cleaner. You'll get 25% off all cleaning services. That's right, 25% off. Check out 8,000 raving customer reviews if you don't believe me online. Call them, 904-287-5727, or visit their website, ZeroResJacksonville.com. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
It's Guggen Golf time. If you and a friend would like to play in this year's Coastal Equipment Guggen Open Golf Tournament, it's May 19th at Hidden Hills Golf Club. Text Guggen, G-O-O-G-A-N, to the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010 for your chance to win. Great swag and prizes will be had throughout the course from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, TopDressing.com, and Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. You can win a Bernie Grill from Stonecore thanks to our sponsors, Ahead, Surfside Pools, and Ackerman Urology.
Don't miss the Bari Breakdown with Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays around 3:20 for the latest in sports injuries. From all the big names in the game, who's MIA, who's coming back from injury. Dr. George Bari on XL Primetime, Wednesdays at 3:20.
Attention Florida homeowners, for 1 month only. Save big with Renewal by Anderson. Get $300 off every window and $825 off all patio doors. Plus, call now and ask about our brand new Ensemble entry door system. But hurry, this limited time offer won't last. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com today to schedule your free design consultation. That's bestwindowsflorida.com. Renewal by Anderson, your trusted window and door experts. Superior products, exceptional service. License number CGC 1527613.
Guys, want a golf course fairway quality lawn? TopDressing.com just landed in Jacksonville with the golf course secret for St. Augustine grass homeowners. A patented process that aerates and turns your turf into a fairway stunner. Serious golf course technology, but in your yard. Less water, tighter cuts, total neighborhood domination. No one else scores a perfect 10 lawn. Hit TopDressing.com now. You will own the block. Top dress your yard like the pros with TopDressing.com.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
E.T. here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
Is your office productivity running at full speed? Advanced Business Solutions has the solution with Xerox copiers. Whether you need high volume printing, scanning, or secure document management, Xerox copiers deliver efficiency, quality, and innovation. With features like cloud integration and mobile printing, Xerox is perfect for any modern office. Let ABS help you streamline your workflow. Veteran-owned Advanced Business Solutions.
Advanced Business Solutions.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. Over the weekend, the Tampa Bay Lightning got one back on the Florida Panthers with a commanding 5-1 victory, cutting the Panthers' series lead to 2-1. Lightning center Jake Gensel led the scoring with a goal and a pair of assists. Ahead of Game 4 tonight at 7 o'clock, Florida Panthers left winger Carter Verhaeghe isn't letting one loss affect the confidence he has in his team.
Some games you feel like you're the best team in the world, and other games you feel like you're the worst team in the world. And I think there's finding a balance to kind of more even keel. I mean, it's never as bad as it seems. It's never as good as it seems. So I think just kind of going through it and grinding, and we're an experienced group. We've been here quite a few times, and I mean, I think it's just we're taking it day by day.
It's currently 78 degrees at 5:04. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
The buck stops here. Time now for Bucky Brooks, brought to you by Coyle & Sons, Jacksonville's commercial fence specialist, on The Frangie Show.
And we thank our friends from Coyle & Sons for sponsoring this feature. It's brought to you by them. The number is 904-356-4821, or you can log on to coiljacks.com, the best fence company around. They've been doing it since 1927, commercial fences for all those years, and now residential fences too. If you need a fence, only one number to know, 904-356-4821. My buddy Bucky Brooks joins us now after a crazy and wild draft. Bucky, how you doing, buddy?
Man, I am good. How's everything with you, Frank?
We are good, and Hays and I were just talking about it. I don't know that I can remember a first-round pick, maybe Baselli, that I am this confident will be this good. Now, look, it's the second overall pick. I ought to be this confident. I watched more and more tape of Travis Hunter. What do you think about him? Bucky, what makes him so special?
I think first we got to give it context. So when you take someone top 1, top 2, top 3, you literally should envision them being a gold jacket player. Tony Baselli is the embodiment of what a top pick should be. He played well. He earned all kinds of accolades and finished up being a Hall of Famer. Travis Hunter is expected to be that kind of player, and everything that he exudes makes everyone around him believe that he can be that kind of player. From his personality to the work ethic to the play on the field, he is everything that you want in a top pick. And when you watch him, and I think it's really important because, Frank, I don't know if you noticed, he's the first player to ever win the Heisman Trophy and to be a first-team all-academic team member.
Wow.
So what you're talking about is someone who is an elite player who is also elite in other areas of his life. And so when he talks about wanting to be the best in everything, that is going to come out in his play. It also is going to come out in everybody else's play, which is why the pick was so fascinating going back to when James Gladstone took over, and he talked about the ecosystem is one where people will change the culture by simply being themselves. When you have a Travis Hunter who wants to be elite in everything, when you add a bunch of those guys, the culture becomes elite on its own.
Bucky, what will the mental challenge be for Travis if he is able to handle 800 snaps on offense, 700 snaps on defense, something like that? He played 1,552 snaps last year in college. But from a mental standpoint, what is the challenge that he will have to overcome, and how do you think he'll go about that?
Well, the challenge, whenever you take on the task that he's taken on, jack of all trades, master of none. So what the coaching staff and the entire organizational structure has to be, how can we allow him to be great in one area while he's working in another area? So what's the fastest way for him to be great? It appears that they're going to put him on offense first because that's the easiest way for him to have the biggest impact. He can touch the ball 7-8 times a game, and we have seen when he touches the ball multiple times, something big is going to happen for the offense. Then on defense is, hey, how can we give him a small package that grows as he gets more comfortable in his primary job, that he can still make an impact in his secondary job? And then is he comfortable enough from a physical standpoint and a mental standpoint to be able to do both? Obviously, we talked about his academic honors. I don't think learning the playbook is going to be hard for him. I think the biggest thing is managing his body in terms of, like, competitive stamina. He wants to go hard all the time. And then managing, you don't want to put too much on his plate where middle of the season he hits a wall that he can't come back from. But I will say what makes him different than anybody else who has tried to take on this challenge, that's all he has ever done. He's played two-way, Little League, Middle League, Pop Warner, high school, college. He never stopped being a two-way player. No one else has done that. People have gone one way in college and try and come back and be a two-way player in the pros. No one has said, no, this is what I do. So I'm more willing to bank on he's going to do what he's always done, and he's going to be special in both areas.
Now, let me ask you this, and I agree with you. He's accustomed to doing both, but you played both. You in your college and pro career, you were a receiver and a cornerback, so you know both positions. What's the difference in, I don't know, Bucky, time in the classroom, time in meetings? Do the receivers spend more time in meetings than the DBs? Less time? Is there more? You would think there's more to learn on offense. I may be wrong there, but so how is it different?
Look, there's definitely more volume to learn on offense, right? Like with all the plays, we've seen it, man. Guys take 125 to 150 plays on the call sheet into a game, which is a lot. I would say that it's excessive, but he has to learn all of that on offense and where it fits. And a lot of times it's like crossover, same route, same concept, different formation with different motion and stuff. So once he understands the concept, it's easy because it's conceptual learning. Defensively, the thing about it, that if I'm Liam Cohen, what I'm challenging the defense to do is, okay, how can we get him on the field in third down first?
Right.
Let's just create a third down package for him to be the nickel or the dime where he comes in and does that role. I can tell you that role is an easier role. As a guy who was a converted defensive back, when I played for Dick Duran, the late Dick Duran in Jacksonville, he's like, hey, man, I'm just going to make it easy for you. You're just going to be the dime. So all you have to worry about is you cover the tight end, you play this role in this zone, that's it. And then it grows from there. I think that's the easiest way for Travis to kind of master it. But let's be honest, man. Talent is talent. And it's going to be hard when he makes a play on defense to be like, yeah, we want to keep him there. Because what's going to happen, he's going to make some plays, and before you know it, he's going to be out there all the time just because he's that good.
What kind of a combo do you think Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter can form here pretty quickly for the Jaguars?
I think a very special combo. And the reason why I love this pick is everything that you're doing offensively is designed to make the game easier for Trevor Lawrence. So let's be honest about Trevor. Trevor has shown flashes of being the elite player that we wanted to be when he was the number one pick, but he needs others to help him do what he does well. What the Jaguars have done is they've added 2 elite ball catchers. And when I mean ball catchers, that, hey, man, you throw it in the vicinity, they're going to go get it. We saw that last year with Brian Thomas Jr. There have been times where I've heard Frank, I'm on the sideline, Frank would be like, oh, my God, how do you make that catch? Right. Particularly with the game on a downfield thing. I was like, there's no way he's going to get it, and before you know it, he does. Travis offers the same thing. We've seen him do it time and time again at Colorado on red zone throws or whatever, where all of a sudden the strike zone is big. It went from being from chin to belt to now chin to ankle because these guys can catch everything. That makes it so easy for Trevor. The other thing, we've seen these guys turn short passes into big games. So rather than always thinking about for us to get explosive plays, it has to be down the field. You may see Trevor raise up 5 to 8 times a game and just pop out bubble screens to these guys because they can make defenders miss and turn these at-the-line passes into 10 to 15-yard games. That helps his completion percentage and his efficiency, and overall it helps the offense.
So, Bucky, when from a standpoint of offensive volume, we'll get to defense in a minute, but standpoint of offensive volume, Brian Thomas Jr. was essentially on the field every play except when they were going to run it in short yardage. When they went to that set where they'd bring in Tim Jones as the wide receiver and 3 tight ends, and that's when he would get his blows, but he didn't get many. Do you expect the same thing with Travis Hunter, that other than third and a yard and a half where they go heavy, that he's going to be in the game just about all the time like Brian Thomas Jr. is?
So here's the beautiful thing about Liam Cohen and what they can do offensively. So there are ways where you can change up. You can run the same formation but change up the personnel grouping while keeping the same personnel package on the field. For instance, we're going to say that Gabe Davis is a big part of the offense. So now you have Gabe Davis, Travis Hunter, Brian Thomas Jr., and you also have Parker Washington as the other. So what you can do is you can use Parker Washington to spell Brian Thomas Jr. and reconfigure the thing. You can use Parker Washington to spell Travis Hunter and keep them on the field. So in my mind, I'm always going to at least have one of our special players on the field, Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter. So you can always give them a blow, but I think it's how much can he handle, what does the GPS look like at the end of the week? Does he seem like he's fading at the end of the games? If he's not, man, I'm going to give him as much as he can handle, and then we can dial it back as he needs us to dial it back.
Bucky, what stood out to you beyond the Travis Hunter selection for the Jags?
So I listened to the presser yesterday when Liam and James were talking after the draft was all wrapped up, and I finally had a chance to sit down and listen. And early on, when James, I'm going to go back to the comment where they talked about the ecosystem changing just because of the kind of guys that you brought in. And I thought it was interesting that he brought up Jack Kaiser as an example. Jack Kaiser goes to the Senior Bowl, does all the stuff through the practice week. They get to game day. All of these guys opt out. Kaiser voluntarily goes to play safety, even though he's a linebacker and it can make him look bad. That's what we talked about. If you want a team that plays hard, you have to bring in guys that play hard. If you have a team where you want to be a hard-working team, you have to bring in guys that want to work hard on their own. What the Jags have done, because everybody that they brought in went through the entire process. They didn't opt out of games. They didn't opt out the combine. Didn't opt out of workout. To me, that suggests that everybody wants to work. They love ball. They're about it. And so it's one thing to say that you love ball. It's another thing when your actions back that up. Yeah. The Jaguars brought in a bunch of people that are like that. And what that does, that puts peer pressure on others. Because if you don't love it like we love it, you're going to find your way out because you can't keep up with the guys that do. So to me, quietly, they've changed the culture from inside out without saying a whole lot about, our culture is this. They don't have to say it. They're living it because the guys that they brought in breathe it.
Yeah, we talked about at the top of the program. It seems like all these, they love to use the phrase love ball. That's what, not love football, not love to love ball. So you're right about that. Here's what I think. In my opinion, I told Hays this a minute ago, Bucky, I think all 9 draft picks are going to make the team. And I think other than Monheim, who's a center, who my guess will be a healthy scratch if he makes the team because they've got centers ahead of him. They've got veteran offensive linemen. They were very active in free agency. Man, I think the other 8 are all going to affect the game. Now, look, maybe Raekwon Lane just affects the game as a gunner. I think it's one of the reasons they got him. Maybe Jalen McLeod is the 4th edge, and maybe if Ogba plays well, they won't need him very much. But I get the sense that all these guys are going to be on the team and affect the games even in their first year. Do you see it that way?
I 100% see it that way. Whenever a new coach and new general manager front office comes in, they typically flip the roster in some way to make sure that they put their own kind of imprint on how the team is going to go about their business. But then when you look at the players that came in, all of these guys bring special value. Caleb Ranstraw, I'm going to tell you right now, man, he's an absolute baller. When you think about what they want to do on the end, what I thought about is like, man, I could see this guy playing a nickel or whatever role, but then I could see Travis Hunter coming on the field and them being interchangeable parts in terms of how they reconfigure the secondary. Then I think about Raekwon Lane coming from Navy and all the things that he does as a special teamer. But did you know that he also led all safeties in terms of what we call turnover production? When you add up interceptions, forced fumbles, fumble recovery, he's at the top of the list. So when you talk about, hey, we want our defense to take the ball away, you got to bring in guys that take the ball away. So I just think that this class, without being overly excited, because we always get excited when new stuff comes in, but to me, the action, the players line up to what they say. I'm really excited to see this version of the Jaguars compete to put the best 53 on the field.
Yeah, I really am too. All right, Bucky, final thing here, and I agree with your assessment of the Jags. I got to say, I said this earlier in the program. It was my take of the day. I was put off by all the attention Shadeur Sanders dropping got in the two networks. I have great respect for him. I'm a big Rich Eisen fan. I know Kuiper lost his mind, but I thought it took, in my mind, for me as a viewer, it took away from my enjoyment of the draft because every time someone got taken, the first comment was that, hey, look at Joe Smith from West Virginia going in the 4th round. It was, wow, Shadeur dropped again. So it bothered me. As a TV guy, as a guy that does a lot of work on NFL Network, did you agree with that? And secondly, I know you know Shadeur. I know you know Prime well. Y'all work together at the network. And I have no negative feelings to Shadeur. But why did you think he dropped? And did you think it was over the top, all the talking about how much he dropped?
Okay, I'm going to answer the first thing first in terms of the coverage. Yeah, it was over the top. I understood why. Because remember, we're in the business of entertainment. And so what typically happens in every draft, you pick a handful of names that register. Shadeur Sanders' name registers partially because of him, but also because of Prime. And so there was always going to be a lot of attention and intrigue over that. And also because the buildup was the expectation he was going to be either number one or number two quarterback throughout the fall and throughout this process. And so that's where a lot of it was. But I would say, if I was in this draft class and my name scrolled across the screen and they were talking about Shadeur Sanders, I'll be deeply disappointed. It's a realization of a lifelong dream that these networks essentially peed on. So I am disappointed on that. Having been someone that heard my name called, I remember how special that moment is. Now, this is what I'll say about Shadeur Sanders. Now that everyone has been free-flowing with the information, I've been able to get texts and people to call me back. I would say that Deion Sanders and Shadeur Sanders misplayed their hand. In basketball, a lot of times you hear people kind of finagle their way into the team that they want. They had an expectation, the Sanders, that he was going to be a top pick. He was going to go in the top 7. So what they essentially did is they blew up all the other teams. They also elected. So remember, we started talking about the Jaguars brought in a bunch of people that love ball. And so all of those guys went through the process, and every time they had an opportunity to show people that they love ball, they participated. Shadeur Sanders turned down an opportunity to participate in the East-West Shrine Game. He didn't participate in the Combine, didn't participate in the Big 12 Pro Day. Top 30 visit, didn't come prepared to handle the interview and the questions when they asked him. And then he did the showcase, which was just okay. Well, now when you decided not to talk to all those other teams, you only talked to 17. Well, now when you're falling, guess what? If I have an opportunity to pick someone who loves ball versus someone who kind of snotted me or thumbed their nose at me, I'm definitely not going to save you. And what you saw was the league say, hey, man, nobody's bigger than the program. And when you act like you're bigger than the program, the consequences of play, if your talent doesn't beget the tolerance that some get when they're super talented.
Great point. And I think that's exactly, that's well said. That's better. That's said better than anybody else I've heard say it since then. So well done. My friend Bucky Brooks will join us every Monday in football season, joins us on the Jaguar broadcast. We'll catch up soon. Bucky, thanks, buddy.
Hey, man. Thanks, man.
All right. Bucky Brooks, that was a great take. That's the take. You know, they misplayed their hand. You know,
without a doubt.
Deion and Shadeur misplayed their hand, and they played it into some arrogance, and it cost them a bunch of rounds in the draft. We'll take a break. Hays has headlines after this. Is there anything else going on in the world of sports? All we've done is draft. Is there anything else? There may be something, right?
I mean,
can you find
little.
something?
I'll try.
Find something. Headlines are next. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make, and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is, and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
From the first play ball to the final, your home for play-by-play is 1010XL.
Fantastic news here. Due to overwhelming response, Beard's Diamonds extending their amazing earring and bracelet sale for Mother's Day. Kick in here. So now through Mother's Day, you can still save up to 40% off diamond earrings and diamond tennis bracelets. It's Beard's most ambitious offer ever, and response has been incredible. The corporate-owned big box stores can't touch these prices. Beard's locally owned, man. Say hi to the Lupos when you go over there. The freedom to give you pricing you deserve. Highest quality diamond jewelry. Celebrate the mothers in your life with something they'll appreciate for decades to come. They also have special pricing on other Mother Day favorites, including colored gemstones, pearls, pendants, and fashion jewelry. Beard's Diamonds, your destination for making this Mother's Day truly special. Don't miss Beard's Diamonds' biggest sale ever. Up to 40% off Beard's already beatable value price. Now through Mother's Day at the Town Center. Only locally owned jeweler. It's Beard's Diamonds.
This is the Mangler. Years of playing football coupled with lifestyle left my feet mangled with neuropathy. I was experiencing burning, tingling, and numbness. I spoke with 2 foot specialists, and they told me there was no cure. They were wrong. I found Dr. Nate Riddle in Ponte Vedra. After utilizing his neuropathy treatment for only 2 weeks, I noticed a difference in my feet. I was regaining my feeling and balance. If you want relief from nerve pain, call Dr. Nate for a free consultation at Riddle Wellness, 904-395-5598.
Say
Say goodbye to glasses and contacts with customized vision treatments at Bowden Associates. Hey, Hicken here. Dr. Bowden and his expert team bring you all the latest options like Evo implantable Collamer lenses, refractive lens exchange, or traditional LASIK. Tailored just for you. Imagine waking up to clear vision. No hassle, no fuss. You ready to see the difference? Call now or visit Bowdeneye.com for a free screening. Bowden Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
It's Work Zone Awareness Week, Florida. Every year, lives are lost in work zones because of speeding and distractions. When you see orange cones, remember, slow down, follow the signs, and stay focused. Workers are counting on you to get home safely, and so are their families. Let's work together to prevent crashes and save lives. A safety reminder from the Florida Department of Transportation. Slow your roll. Safety's the goal.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
1010XL is the home of Gator Nation and the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. I'm Hacker, and we keep you connected with the University of Florida all year long. Get Gator Bites where you find podcasts.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it. They do it, whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the trumpet call heard round the world. Experience the thrill of the Kentucky Derby at Best Bet. Saturday, May 3rd, witness the most exciting 2 minutes in sports and dive into the action with live wagering. This could be your lucky day. Mark your calendars and join us at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, or St. Augustine on May 3rd for the Kentucky Derby. Visit bestbetjacks.com for more details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is more than just a legal process. It's a life-changing event that can impact your future, finances, and your relationship with your children. You've worked hard to build a life that you're proud of, and you deserve a legal partner who will work just as hard to protect it.
Offices in Jacksonville. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here. We've got JJ LaSelva. I am Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Give them a call at 251-1111. Frank, we've certainly gone over the Jaguars draft, but one move that I thought was really interesting post-draft, the Jaguars signed veteran edge Emmanuel Ogbah. He has 47 career sacks, including 5 last year with the Dolphins.
Yeah, and I think he'll be a good player here. Your guess is A, he's the third edge when either Josh Hines Allen or Trayvon Walker need a blow. B, and when they're in sub package, when they're nickel, you would imagine that it'll be Trayvon moving down inside and Ogbah and Hines Allen outside. So all three will be on the field together. But look, that was one. They did a very good job of filling their rooms. That was the room that wasn't full yet, so good for them. Good move.
Absolutely. Let's get it to our couple local schools here. We'll look at Florida and Florida State, what they did in the draft. The Gators had 7 players drafted all on the final day. Chamare DK goes 4th round to the Titans. Cam Jackson, 5th round to the Panthers. Shamar James, 5th round to the Cowboys. Jason Marshall, 5th round to the Dolphins. Graham Mertz goes in the 6th round, a full round higher than Quinn Ewers. Mertz goes to the Texans. Jeremy Crawshaw, 6th round to the Broncos, and Trequezie Bridges, 7th round to the Chargers.
Yeah, 7 guys drafted, which is a lot. But, it's the first time they haven't had a guy taken in the first 3 rounds in about 15 years,
yeah.
If I read that right. So they had some NFL players, but not a lot of NFL stars. DK is the one that everybody fell in love with. I thought he might even go higher. People really liked him, I can tell you that. I had a scout tell me they had a 4th round grade on Mertz, so I'm not surprised. Yeah, I had a scout that I trust tell me that Mertz had a 4th or 5th round grade, so I expected him to go. So a lot of Gators went, none went super high. By the way, Cam Jackson's going to be a good player. That's one guy I kept hoping the Jags might take. Every time we get to it, you're watching the draft. Every time another round came, I kept hoping that Cam Jackson would wind up here.
Absolutely. Florida State had 2 players drafted. Isaiah Thomas went 3rd round to the Jets, and Josh Farmer, 4th round to New England.
Thomas, good player. He's a guy that kind of snuck up on people. He's going to be a very good corner in the league. He's a guy that if more people had known about him, had they had a better season, I think might have gone higher. He's a good player. But what a change. An FSU team that a year ago dominated the combine and the draft. Boy, oh boy, when they're all gone, it's hard to replace them.
Absolutely. To around the NFL, the Commanders and the District of Columbia agree on a new stadium deal that will be built at the site of old RFK. The cost will be an estimated $3.2 billion, with the stadium opening ideally in the 2030 season.
Yeah, that's great, too. Everyone in the NFL is building new stadiums, but the Washington franchise needs to be in downtown D.C. It never made sense to me, even though it's been gone since 96. It never made sense that was in the suburbs, and now it's going to be back downtown-ish, and that's good.
Let's get it to college football. The Gators active in the portal. They get Baylor defensive tackle Brendan Bett. He was a reserve for 2 years with the Bears, but that is somebody that I think can absolutely make an impact with the Gators.
Well, that was their hole. Their hole was defensive tackle. Caleb Banks is going to be a good player, maybe a first-rounder. But after that, Jamari Lyons is coming back from a year-long injury. Makai Burrow is a good backup, but he hadn't played much. They just lost Robinson, who went to the portal. So they have edges. They have linebackers. The one hole I thought they had was D-tackle. So if he's good, that's a big one for the Gators.
North Carolina coach Bill Belichick, man, that's still weird to say, who obviously helped author the Patriots dynasty.
That's not the most weird thing about Belichick lately,
That's a very good point. So he is promoting a book and decided to go on CBS this past weekend. And Frank, it was a disaster for a variety of reasons, notably for his girlfriend, Jennifer Hudson. I think, what's her name? Jennifer, I can't even remember. The 24-year-old girlfriend kept interrupting the interview. JJ has a little bit of that for us.
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on.
Wow.
What are we doing? By the way, do you watch CBS This Morning on Sunday?
I have.
We watch it every week.
Okay, and I am not an avid.
My wife loves it. She likes the Steve Hartman feel-good part.
That's a great show. It's been on for decades.
It's my wife's. We watch it every Sunday morning. We're bacon and eggs in CBS.
They used to play it for us in journalism school to be like, "This is what you're supposed to."
It was Charles Corral, right?
Yeah,
was the host forever.
But it's the most non-controversial,
right?
Feel-good, happy. Have your pancakes and have a good day. Turn it on right when you get home from church. It's the perfect, sweet, nice, happy show. What are we doing? And so obviously the rumors about how they met exploded. JJ made a great point during the break. Here's what you do. You make up some story.
Right.
We bumped into each other at Macy's.
Or we met online.
Yeah, we met online.
Conversation over.
Yeah, and so instead, What has happened to Belly? What's happened to the hoodie?
It's so
What's
sad.
happened?
It really is. It's like, I don't know. This isn't a midlife crisis. This is like a full mental breakdown that I think he's having. And it's concerning. And the other thing, too, is like, if it had only happened once, I think CBS would have not aired it.
Right.
But the report is
correct
that it happened so frequently.
That's what Florio wrote about.
In the interview,
Yeah.
that they were like, we're keeping this in because it's sort of revealing to what the actual story is. And he just sits there like listless and allows this to happen.
Here's the bad part.
I mean, why would anyone buy this book? He's clearly not going to be truthful about anything. He also, in the interview, disputes that he was fired with the Patriots. Of course he was fired. You think he left
Mutual
14
decision.
wins away from Shula's record voluntarily?
Mutual decision. Well, here's the sad thing. One of the greatest coaches in the history of the sport. He left. He pops up on the Manning cast and was good. He was funny. He could have left graciously. People appreciate him. Now this. What are we doing? Bill, stop.
It's sad. It really is. It's sad to see. We'll see what the Tar Heels do this year, but boy, their head coach looks like he's in a world of hurt. Let's get to the NBA. The Lakers are down 3-1 after Anthony Edwards' heroics as Minnesota takes a thrilling Game 4, 116-113. Edwards scored 43 points. The Lakers out of gas in the fourth quarter, outscored by 13.
Yeah, blew a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, and that was their last chance to give the NBA what it wanted, and that is Luka and LeBron in the finals. They're not even going to make the next round. I can't imagine them bouncing back now. The T-Wolves been the better team, and Edwards been the best player in the series.
Absolutely. There are two games tonight. Cleveland takes a 3-0 lead into Miami. That game's at 7:30 tonight. Houston is going to Golden State at 10 o'clock. The Warriors lead 2-1.
What a series that one's been. And by the way, speaking of the NBA, and I hope the Warriors win, because if I can't have LeBron, can I at least have Steph, right? Did you see the end of the Denver game?
Oh,
the Aaron Gordon dunk?
Unbelievable.
I watched it. He got it off. But man, it was close.
It was really close.
I mean, it was really, really what a.
It was sort of reminiscent of Valvano's NC State team, except the ball went over the goal, not right in front of it.
Very similar to the Low Charles dunk. You're exactly right. So I had to watch it 3 or 4 times. I think he got it off. And man, it was close.
Yeah, it was.
I felt like whatever they called on the court, they were probably just going to have to stick with it.
Agreed.
Good call. Let's get into college baseball. The Gators take the series over 5th-ranked Arkansas. Florida won Sunday's game 9-5 after trailing by 4 early on. UF is now 30-16, 8-13 in SEC play, but remember their dismal start. The Gators are 19th in today's RPI, the 10th highest rated SEC school, so still not typically having a very strong year in conference, but in terms of making the tournament, Florida really took a big step by getting the series win over the Razorbacks.
Gigantic win. Think about this. 2 years ago, they almost won the national title, lost at the end. Last year, Hays, they were 26-27, or 27-26, and found a way to win 2 out of 3 at Georgia, or they wouldn't have made the tournament. They snuck into the tournament. They started 1-11 this year in the conference. Sweep Missouri, you're 4-11. Then go to Mississippi State, tough place to play, win 2 out of 3. Now you're 6-12. You played a 5th-ranked team in America. You win again. You win the series again. Now you're 8-13. Big series this weekend. They're at South Carolina, who's not good. They need to either sweep or win another series because they got Texas and Texas A&M to end the season. Texas best team in the country.
Yeah.
So they gotta win a minimum of 2 out of 3 at South Carolina this week.
Great points. We will get you out on our musical nugget of the day. Got a chance to see Pearl Jam at the Hard Rock in South Florida on Saturday night. Fantastic show at a smaller venue. They played 24 songs. They didn't do an encore, which was really interesting. This was the second night of this tour. The first night they did an encore. They didn't do one Saturday night, but the band left and Eddie Vedder just stayed on stage. So they kind of did one. They still played the same amount of great music. Eddie Vedder's voice is still in top form. Very engaged with the audience. Very funny. It's hard to believe he's 60 years old. But just a fantastic show. Couldn't encourage Pearl Jam fans to go see these guys live if you get the opportunity to. This is, of course, Even Flow.
And what an iconic band. I told you earlier, if you don't count the 70s band, probably the most iconic rock band in the world. If you don't count next to U2. Next to U2, the second most program. Glad you got to see it. Let's wrap the program after this.
the ride home with The Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
As the NBA playoffs continue, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who dispatched the Memphis Grizzlies in 4 straight games, remain the betting favorite to win this year's Larry O'Brien Trophy. The Thunder at plus 155. The Celtics up 3-1 on the Orlando Magic, plus 195 to repeat as NBA champions. The Cleveland Cavaliers leading their series against Miami 3-0 or plus 450. The Golden State Warriors plus 1,800 to win the championship. Minnesota up 3-1 on the Lakers, or plus 2,200. The Clippers are plus 2,500 to win the NBA title. They are tied in their series with Denver at 2 games apiece. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Oh, no. No.
You okay in there?
Toilet's backed up. It won't flush.
Okay, I'll call the pros.
The tank isn't filling. The handle does nothing. Run for your life.
Don't be so dramatic. Duck Duck Rooter will fix it.
For any plumbing issue, call Duck Duck Rooter, your local plumbing professionals and proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. DuckDuckRooter.com.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Spring is sprung, and so have the bugs. It's Hays Carlyon and my friends at Kingfish Pest Control offer an exclusive $99 spring special. That's right, your initial pest control service is just $99. And if you call today, they'll include a free one-time mosquito treatment. Kingfish Pest Control is family-owned, 5-star rated with no binding contracts, and 100% satisfaction guarantee. Call them now to book your service. Only at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Enhance your home with Renewal by Anderson's superior craftsmanship and timeless design. Right now, get $300 off all windows or $825 off patio doors. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months, but this offer expires April 30th. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler, and this Mother's Day, we'd like to help you celebrate Mom with up to 40% off our entire inventory. GIA certified natural diamonds and lab-grown diamonds, beautiful colored gemstones, designer brands, custom jewelry design, and Monahan Jewelers offers interest-free financing on any purchase, so get something special with a payment you can afford. Come celebrate Mom with fine jewelry at up to 40% off at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Out here, you'll find a community of hardworking creators with loyal followers, along with proud moments worth sharing. And farm to table, well, that's just supper. And whether it's a raised garden bed, acres of land, or something for your animals, we've got all the supplies and are happy to share a little know-how.
Welcome to Tractor Supply. Into life out here.
When you hear Florida Gators baseball on 1010XL, it's brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators, and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars.
Grinding out good grades can be just as challenging as winning games. That's why 1010XL salutes the Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. Wednesdays on The Frangie Show.
The NBA playoffs are here, and there's no better place to catch the action than Hurricane Grill and Wings. With slam dunk specials like $3.75 Miller Lite drafts, plus fresh, never frozen wings in over 30 flavors, and big screens everywhere. This is your home for all the games. Handcrafted cocktails, bold flavors, big plays. Don't just watch the games, experience them at Hurricane Grill and Wings. Find your spot at hurricanewings.com.
I'm just going to cut to the chase. What you really want to know is, why buy from Arlington Toyota? Mia here. How about over 800 vehicles, one lot, 60-day exchange, and friendly credit for everyone. Plus, right now, you choose a pre-owned 2022 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for $0 down and only $388 per month. Or how about no payments till August 2025? Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter-mile east of 295, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
The aroma, flavor, the bliss. Nothing matches a great cigar, and now you can indulge yourself with My Father's Cigars. Come to Tobacco Cove on Saturday, May 3rd from 1 to 4 p.m. for an incredible cigar event featuring food, drinks, and specials on cigars. This is your chance to embrace the joy of My Father's Cigars at Tobacco Cove on Bay Meadows Road. More than a cigar store, it's an experience.
Hey, it's Matt Hays here with a challenge. A challenge might not be the best choice in words, so let's say an opportunity. Take the opportunity to lose 40 by the 4th with Awaken 180. It sounds a little different when you put a real goal to it, doesn't it? Maybe you looked at the scale this morning and it read 230 pounds. How about it reading 190 by the 4th? Maybe the scale says 300. Wouldn't the number 260 be a little nicer on your eyes and on your joints? It's attainable if you have the same results we all had with Awaken 180. I dropped 40 pounds in 9 weeks. Hacker dropped his first 40 in just 6 weeks. Dempsey, Blue, and everyone else I know, same results. And we've kept it off. The best thing about Awaken 180 weight loss, it will completely change the way you think, see, and feel about food. The results are real, attainable, and the process simple with Awaken 180. Take the opportunity and drop 40 by the 4th. It all starts with just one call to Awaken 180 weight loss. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Free Comic Book Day. Hey, I'm Ben Kay, owner of Gotham City Limit, your local comic shop, inviting you to the Community Party of the Year, Saturday, May 3rd. Free comics, free food, huge discounts, and more. Let's take Free Comic Book Day to the limit. Gotham City Limit.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, where have we been on the course of the show today? We talked a little draft. That's pretty much been our show. Hayes and I went through all the draft picks and gave you an idea what we thought each impact or how much impact each would have on the Jaguars. Our friend Bucky Brooks joined us. What a terrific job he always does. Talked all about the draft picks, why he thought they matter so much. Talked about all the guys that love ball and fit the culture. That seems to be what they did, in addition to getting faster, stronger in the free agent period and faster now. And he knows Shadeur Sanders. He made a great point on Shadeur and Prime misplayed their hand, and because of it, he went a lot lower. So we did that, talked all about it, and Hayes had a bunch to wrap up in headlines as well. So the draft behind us. We're now on to OTA season, minicamp season. Then we get vacation season, right? A lot of seasons.
Yeah.
And then preseason. So it'll be interesting to see. I can't wait till the schedule comes out. It'll be interesting to see the schedule.
Yeah, getting close, a couple weeks away.
Yeah, the Jags, by the way, have 9 counted home games this year. Right. One will be in London, but they have 9 home games, so it'll be 8. So technically 8 will be played in Jacksonville, 8 will be played on the road, and 1 will be played in London. That also means 2 road games in the preseason. So it'll be interesting to see. That's right around the corner.
They're going to have a lot of travel. They're going to have a lot of long flights this year.
It really is. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, we're going to Vegas, Denver, Phoenix, and San Francisco, and London. That's 5 big-time trips.
Yes.
That's 5 long flights.
Right.
Great food cities, though, for you, Frank.
They are great food cities. Yes, they are. I love food cities.
But when you think about that, if they don't go back-to-back on any of these, then you're talking about an average of basically 1 every 3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
You're getting on a plane for a long time.
Yeah. And my guess is if the league has them go back-to-back, they probably will stay. We'll probably stay in a city. But other than that, that's a lot of flights. And I would imagine the thing now teams do, some don't, but most teams now do the way the Jags have recently, and that is still go Saturday, even if you go to the West Coast. I always thought it made more sense to go Friday just to get adjusted, just your body clock adjusted. But they really don't. They just assume you're going to play an afternoon game, So you play plenty of 4:00 games, so you just treat it. You don't really change your clock, So what would you think? If you were a coach or GM? When you go to San Francisco, would you go Friday to adjust, or would you just say still go Saturday?
I would go on Saturday. I mean, I would lean towards my nutrition people and conditioning people. But yeah, if that's where the league is going, I'd have no problem going on Saturday. But if I were the Jaguars, I would have requested the league to schedule, in the first 4 weeks, a back-to-back.
Yeah.
Like I would like to do San Fran.
Get two out of the way.
Two of the trips on one trip. Plus, I think, and again, this is, do you buy into this or not? But I do think it helps to be like away for a week. And again, with the building of the team and the camaraderie and things like that, because you get kind of that dip now after the preseason. There's like a 10-day gap where really nothing happens. You're done with the preseason. You're waiting on the opener. So you kind of get that lull. And so because of that, I think it'd be good maybe in the first quadrant of the season, the first maybe 4 games for week 2, week 3, to be consecutive road games out west. But we'll see. Then they may not want that. But if it were me, I would have requested it.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see the way the whole thing plays out. I will say this. I understand why the NFL does it. They want to stay in the news. And by delaying the schedule until the middle of May, you've now stayed in the news one more month.
No one will be talking about the draft on May 14th.
That's exactly
so. Right. Let's give them the schedule.
Right. But I liked it better when we had it by now.
Yeah.
I liked it better when you had the schedule before the draft. And but hey, you know what? What this means now is that the NFL's marvelous at staying in the news.
It really is.
They really. When free agency started, whenever the NFL went 90s or whenever it was, the NFL figured out we're the biggest thing going. Why should we have 3-4 months where no one talks about us? So now there's almost none. I mean, there really are almost none.
Yeah, because the 6 weeks is by design.
Yeah, right.
That's what they want. When from mandatory minicamp in June to opening a training camp in July, they want 6 weeks where the fans are like, "Where's my NFL?"
Yeah, that's right, and they've done a great job. Let's say hello to Rick below.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Rick, there's 9 new Jaguars.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the haul?
I thought it was a very interesting class. Pretty happy about it. I mean, it feels like guys who are versatile all over the place, whether it's the offensive line or it's the secondary or it's the combination of a on the edge or an outside linebacker. So they're going to be moving some guys around, which I wasn't a big fan of with either one of the 2 earlier administrations, but I'm sure that's pretty typical across the National Football League. Love the speed. I mean, this is a fast football team. And speed kills, and you can't teach that. So hopefully they got a little bit of wiggle. Hopefully they got good vision. And this team, I think, has added some depth. And you can really make the case that when it's all said and done, maybe not by September, but let's say when we get into October, that I think you could have 3 starters from this haul.
Yeah,
that came in yesterday.
I do too. I said this earlier. I think there's a chance they all make the team.
Mm-hmm.
And other than Monheim, the center, because they've got enough offensive linemen that are veterans, I think the others all might affect it. Now listen, that may mean Lane is covering punts,
right?
But I think almost every guy on that list, other than Monheim, could affect the team this year.
They need a gunner. Tim Jones, who's everyone's favorite special teamer, is no longer here. Right. So Caleb Johnson is no longer here. Yeah. So it's so important. But, guys like Lane, you look at these late picks, Kaiser as well. Right. I mean, a ton of experience in special teams. So I think I would agree with that. The guys that they got, they plan on playing. They plan on having most of them active coming up on Sunday.
All coming up tonight?
All that tonight, yep.
All right, Rick Beluga's into tonight. He'll talk draft and a whole lot more. That'll do it for our program. Tomorrow, same bad time, same bad channel. We're out of here. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.